one of my experiences before these Exploring Monastic Life programs is I get a little bit reflective about them. This is our 12th program here at the Abbey. And so I wanted to really share of all that I have learned in the past years going to these programs. There have been a number of teachings, insights, understandings that I learned way back then, and I try my best to integrate and remember every day that I live here at the Abbey at some level. And so I wanted to share, there's so many gems in this program, and if that's any indication of what's going to happen here, it's going to be a remarkable time for all of us. So I wanted to share some of the essences of the many gems and pearls that have come to the community and to people who have come here, and what has really become integrated into my mind and that I try to use every day, irregardless of being in the program or just being here in community. And so I took looked at some notes from 2005, 2008, and 2011, our programs, and here are some of the gems. Always, always remember your motivation for making the space in your life to come here. I still use that one, especially on the days when my mind is fighting about being here. I'm kind of grumpy. This isn't the way that I do things. Why do I have to ask for permission? Where is the break time? I need a rest. I come back to my motivation. And I see that knowing the Dharma is the most precious thing that we have. And to endure hardship, to have it in our life, is to be expected. And that to be able to create the causes, to come to such a place, to be able to explore our aspirations, to be able to receive teachings and guidance from somebody who's sort of lived this life for almost 40 years, it doesn't just get handed to us. Part of what I've come to understand is that we have worked really hard to get here, and rejoice. And while we're here, we're going to work really hard and rejoice. There's something about me getting used to the fact that hardship is something to accept, something to not get upset about, to actually invite it in and to accept it when it comes. And when things got really tough, I always said to myself, remember, you're here voluntarily. You chose to be here, Semke, or Nance, or whoever I was at the time. And that the voluntariness kind of is like a sword that cuts through the resistance and cuts through the complaining and cuts through the confusion and the resistance, is that, this is voluntary. The second one that came up for me a lot that I got to learn to work with is, I need my space. I am not used to living with all of these people. I lived by myself most of my life after I left home. For most of us, this is a new experience. Even that the people that we're in community with, chances are they might not have even been our friends in life had we not been here. But to see that at times it seems to be a little crowded, but over time you actually learn to enjoy being in the company of others. And that there's a lovely forest and a very big meadow up there if you need mental or physical space. That does supply a medicine to go up to the top of that meadow and to look out over this beautiful valley. The other thing is that I would think about, well, how does this all work? How does this manage to work? And it's by being in the company of like-minded people with similar aspirations is very, very rare. I mean, I kind of finally have been wrapping my mind around how rare this is, to be in the kind of environment that promotes ethical conduct, harmony, kindness, mutual respect, self-respect, integrity. These places in the world are very, very rare. And so to see that that is something that makes it work because we're all having shared values. The other one is and this part, I think I love this more than anything, and I think this is what keeps me here and keeps me growing, is that at the Abbey's core, harmony is the core value. And when it comes push comes to shove, each and every one person here, long-term, short-term, who holds this value has to choose to let go at some point, maybe 15 minutes in the course of the day, maybe for a few months, maybe for the rest of their life, to promote harmony in this community. No matter how long you're here, you have to be willing to let go of your ideas, your preferences, your being right, getting our way, and picking faults, because those things are huge obstacles to harmony in a community. And if the Sangha is not in harmony, there is no sense for us to be here. And that gets driven in here over and over and over again. And we've had our ups and downs in this community, and it comes back to, are we in harmony? Yes. Are we not in harmony? Then why are we here? And that has been a fuel for me to really cultivate harmony in my own mind. In 2005, we had a wonderful Zoto Zen master come here, our first EML. She came and shared some precious jewels as far as I was concerned. Her name was Reverend Master Mako. And so I have 5 little points that she shared with us on that day. Living in community, you are opening yourself up to the truth of the Dharma, and you are opening yourself up to the truth about yourself without a lot of distractions to pull you away. Truth, major, major truth of living in community and being here in the program. We bump up against each other, those of like mind by our side. This is where the analogy of the rock tumbler, I've got the rock tumbler in this little note here, that we bump up against each other and take off these sharp points, the self-centered attitude, this I want when I want when I want it. That was another famous quote of hers, is I want when I want when I want it. We get to sit with our stuff as it passes through day in and day out, because it's always going to come up, and we get to face ourselves. That was another precious gem. Monastic life is like a pressure cooker. In lay life, you get to turn down the heat. In monastic life, you have it on high. That is ultimate truth number 2. We are inviting our afflictions to arise here, which they will anyway, so you can look at them and deal with them. You are putting out the red carpet for your afflictions to arise, coming here to the program, living in community, living with this aspiration and how to really aspire to realizing that aspiration. Let go of things we cling to, learn tools here to know how to deal with them so we can put them down and let our life unfold. So much of the afflictions that will arise, huge obstacles to our life just unfolding in its most beautiful, natural, compassionate way. And finally, she said, what we do here, how we work on our minds, will benefit not only our families and others here in the present, but will benefit future generations. So the impact of training our minds in the Dharma, training our minds with ethical conduct and with all these other qualities, living in harmony, shared value. She says this makes a huge impact, not only on people near and dear to us, but people now and in the future. Laugh and keep your sense of humor. Crucial, crucial. You have to be, I have never laughed as hard as I have laughed being at this Abbey. Because our minds are really silly, really funny, really foolish. And you have to keep your sense of humor or else you're going to fall really into despair. So keep a sense of humor. Lots of new things to know, and you might think, wow, this is way too much. Way too much information, way too much practice. We keep moving, going and going. It is certain to change, and it's not going to be too much too soon. And one of the other things that is the fundamental truth here in experience is this is a place, this program is all about capacity growing. Growing your capacity, stepping out. You have intentionally going to step out of your comfort zone. And being in this program, being in community life, really calls you to step outside your comfort zone and to grow your capacity to be with others, to look at your mind, to cultivate good qualities, to deal with difficulties, and to be admonished or to get feedback, all about capacity building. Always watch, I'm still doing this even after all these years. Same schedule, same practice, same food. See how your mind tries to make one or all of those a really, really big problem. And to see that it's all in the mind, the power of the mind to make or break our experiences of what's going to happen here. Because it's going to find all sorts of reasons to complain. And those are the three that usually come up. The other part that I hold very, very near and dear that started with the program was the mindfulness of our resources. And you have probably already seen that, even being here a few days. Everything from food, water, gas, paper, electricity, time. So much of the training is about how much we use to keep ourselves alive. So much a part of the monastic mind. How much do we need? This is really noticed here, how we repair things, recycle things, reuse things. An expression of compassion for future generations. And it helps to cultivate simplicity during life, so at the time of death, maybe it's going to be a little bit more simple then too. And another one, there's two more points. Need versus wants. This is another big piece that's still going strong inside of me, still having to take care of, still having to look at, but this program really got to see that there are needs, those universal needs of being a sentient being a human being, to be included, to be loved, to be understood, to be heard. And then there's this plethora of wants. The mind of instant gratification does not like living in a monastic environment. I want when I want when I want it. It can't do it here. It can't survive. It causes all sorts of difficulties. And what I've came to understand is that I have had wants and desires and cravings since beginningless time. And over my course of countless lives, probably a lot of those wants and needs and cravings have been met. And guess what? I'm still here. One of the greatest trainings is to see what happens to our minds when it doesn't get what it wants. Huge. And that we get to learn to do without and to cultivate the mind of contentment. That's something that I have also been very much working on continually, even after these years. And last but not least, our definition of success might change. All right, so I came in here with a very strong definition of what success was as far as worldly terms. But I'm a successful person now because my mind is kinder. My mind is happier. I might die without any fear, maybe a lot less clinging. I will have mental, emotional, and spiritual wealth that can't be taken away from me, even at the time of death. That's the sign of a successful person. And in this life, I have helped more than I have harmed. So your definition of success gets challenged here during this program. Also, you get to maybe reinvent what that definition is. And last but not least, we get to create a whole bunch of virtue. We get to accumulate lots and lots of merit, not just individually, but collectively. And that we're creating the causes and conditions to practice together in the future. And there's something about having Dharma friends. I can't do this path alone. I need my teacher, and I need each and every one of you. And by living in community together, you see that interdependence. So anyway, these are some of the things that I have heard, some of these things that I try to apply, some of them I try to push back against, and it doesn't work. And so just a little bit of what I have, the fruits of some of what I have really experienced in the past few years. Anyway.